2 on and 2 out here in the bottom of the third. Creighton already with 2 runs in via an RBI single, 2 RBI single from Connor Capisi. And now Gonzaga goes to the bullpen, maybe a little earlier than intended, but they get a big arm in right-handed Landon Hood.
Yeah, Hood has made quite an impression in his first couple of weeks of college baseball. Twice already named the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Week. You look at those numbers, outstanding. 17-2 strikeout to walk ratio. Through 6 1/3 innings in relief, 8 strikeouts, no runs at Texas State to pick up his first one. And then last weekend, through 3 innings of hitless baseball, struck out 7 of the 11 batters he faced at Oklahoma, at nationally ranked Oklahoma, to pick up the 3-inning save in that one. So he has been outstanding out of the pen early on in his career.
No joke about that. 2-time WCC Freshman of the Week so far this season, including this week, and the 2025 Gatorade Player of the Year in high school from Canyon View High School in Goodyear, Arizona. So they get their best guy for their best spot right here. And he also forgot his pitch comm, or maybe needed a new one.
Yeah, he signaled to the bench that he needed one. Didn't have it on at all.
Locked in on the situation. So 2 on and 2 out. It is the true freshman against the 5th-year senior, Chris Belarjan, at the plate for Creighton. Belarjan has walked. And he did so in the second. First pitch is off the outside edge. Looked pretty close for ball 1. Not the day that Eric Kaufberg imagined. He's responsible for the 2 runners on the base paths at the moment. Hood kicks and delivers. Fouled straight back. That's a 94-mile-an-hour fastball from Landon Hood. Creighton has not seen that today.
No, they have not.
You've seen a couple, not necessarily exclusively soft tossers, but nothing coming in the mid-90s yet. This one is outside.
Yeah, that's a big gap between pitches there. He just threw that one 78 after the 94-mile-per-hour fastball.
So 2 balls, 1 strike to the right-handed hitting Belarjan. Down in the dirt. And a good spot for Belarjan now. Capisi's the runner on second base. Waxman is on first. Waxman reached via the walk. 3-1. Way upstairs, and Hood comes in right away and walks a man. Just his 3rd walk that he's issued all year to his 17 strikeouts.
Yeah, we just showed those stats, which were incredible coming into Division I baseball from high school. And he's been very efficient and couldn't quite find it here in his first batter faced.
We'll get to go out of the windup here against Lou Rice, who takes strike 1, 94 over the inside edge. Rice, another player who's played a lot of college baseball, graduate, and a transfer from Charleston Southern. 0-1, that's a changeup that caught the outside edge, and it's 0-2. That split there is about 17 or so miles an hour on the fastball to the change.
Yeah, if you can control that, you're going to be able to fool some gas.
Bases loaded, the 0-2. Rice cranks one down the right field line, but it will hook foul.
Yeah, that one caught way too much of the plate for an 0-2 pitch.
So Hood will reclimb the mound here. Rice is he at the plate. Takes quite the 2-strike approach and really does so on all counts. The 0-2, way upstairs at 95 this time. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So there was a guy to have up with 2 strikes. Rice might be it. handles the bat pretty well. Rice has walked 4 times this year and struck out 5. That one's inside. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Creighton trying to add to it. A 3-0 lead. They've already scored 2 in the inning. Landon Hood, the star freshman, gets him, climbs the ladder, and strikes out Rice with the bases loaded to end the 3rd. So Landon Hood comes in, walks Belargian, and then gets a huge out to finish off the Blue Jays in the 3rd inning. Take a look at the power fastball, climbing the ladder and putting Rice down. We head to the 4th, 3-0 Creighton. To the bottom of the 4th we go. Gonzaga and Creighton tied at 3. This is game number 2 of our day at the ballpark today. We will return for game number 3 of the series tomorrow afternoon. We'll see who wins this one this afternoon. We may be headed for a rubber game or maybe a sweep by the Blue Jays. Game tomorrow is, gosh, forgive me, is this a 1 o'clock start Central Time tomorrow?
That's what they have.
Okay. That's good. That would be
So
for our friends out
morning baseball
on the West Coast, 11 a.m. Here is Nick Ventiker, who takes strike 1. Ventiker popped out to second base, made a couple defensive plays in the inning, and here is Mark Kingston going to come out and have a chat. Oh,
they want the lights on.
They turned a light back on. Yeah,
they want the lights on, I think. Just again, I was just thinking about it. The shadows have moved now all the way over between the pitcher and home plate, but where the hitter is looking now, the pitcher is in the shade.
Oh, wow, that's a lot different.
But looking beyond the sun.
Yeah. And Ventiker takes outside. I mean, just pitch to pitch on our center field camera view there. I mean, that looks quite drastically different. 1-1 from the freshman Hood, fouls it back. Ventiker.
Yeah, just the way the positioning of the shadow of the roof that is crept over Hood on the mound.
It's another thing that happened, I believe, this offseason was those LED lights were installed instead of the lights that take 45 minutes to fire up and warm up and all those things. Just a button away. You can turn them off and on with ease.
And even with the lights on, they aren't going to be bright enough to overcome the shadows being part of this.
Chopped up the middle, backhanded by the second baseman. Jump throw! He got him at first. What a play by Shoup out at second.
I mean, he makes this very difficult play almost look routine. He has to short hop it, the jump throw, and he gets him by a good step.
Hudson Shoup on a short hop, too. Backhand, excellent play by the Gonzaga second baseman. So the Bulldogs starting to put some momentum together here. And Gump softly hits one out into center field. And coming on is Schinkel, the center fielder, and there's 2 away.
Yeah, interesting pitching alignment now for Gonzaga. They started their all-conference player from a year ago who was a reliever, and now you bring in this freshman who has shown abilities to pitch at length out of the pen through 6 1/3. Mentioned that. I think I mentioned it. I thought he was at Texas State. It was at Hawaii. His first ever appearance in college. He threw 6 1/3 out of the pen, struck out 8, walked none.
Here's Nate McHugh, who takes outside for ball 1. You might not be surprised. We'll see. Get a thought of, obviously, from Coach Mactoff as he goes on throughout the season, but well, you wouldn't be surprised if Landon Hood made his way into a weekend rotation at some point as McHugh lines one sharply up the middle for a base hit. Nate McHugh is on with a 2-out single, his second of the afternoon. So 1 on and 2 away, and Teddy Dieters will come to the plate. Teddy is 0 for 2 in this game, was 0 for 4 in game 1, so 0 for 6 in the afternoon with 3 strikeouts. McHugh off of first base. Hood delivers a breaking ball outside for ball 1.
And Dieters started the season as the Big East Player of the Week, hit .364 the opening weekend, 2 home runs, 7 RBI 7 runs scored in that 3-game set at St. Mary's.
This one's downstairs. We mentioned it in game 1, but Teddy's looking for a heck of a bounce back year this season after just a really slow start to begin his 2025 campaign and then turning it on gradually at the end of the year. Good swing by Dieters. He fouls it back.
Yeah, his sophomore campaign was
excellent.
Fantastic. Led the team in home runs with 10, had 14 doubles, 48 RBI.
So 2 balls and 1 strike here to Dieters with McHugh on first base. McHugh bluffs the go, comes back, and takes a strike.
Yeah, Dieters hunting fastball there, and you could see with the toe tap, was not expecting that changeup. Again, when you're expecting 94 and you see 77, that'll cause some confusion.
You're going to have to hit restart there. 2-2's outside, and the count goes full on Dieters. So this is pretty close to best on best here. The 3-2 pitch, we'll see what Landon Hood decides to bring to the plate. Nobody holding on McHugh. He'll get a head start. The pitch is low and away, and Teddy Dieters works a 2-out walk. Creighton has 2 runners on the 2-out.
Interesting pitch selection there. You mentioned see best on best, and instead of challenging Dieters with the fastball, he went with the change.
A little surprising. And now you got to face Ben North.
Yeah, that's why I would have challenged Dieters, who hasn't had the day that North has.
And North tripled, homered in game 1, and then a 428-foot blast in his first at-bat in game 2. He takes strike 1 there. He struck out, though, in his previous at-bat. Well, this is the first time he sees Landon Hood. 2 on, 2 away. Goes back to that slider. And one thing about Hood is, at least that we've noticed so far, is when he is throwing that slider, it is almost never catching the plate. So he's trying to go for swings and misses. Swing and a miss there on a changeup, 80 miles an hour, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, even though it was caught more in the zone than he would have liked, the slow
just the
pace of it.
The big gap really makes up for a difficult time. 1-2. Just barely tapped foul. 78 miles an hour. North is going to have to select a pitch that he wants to hit and then guess correctly. Runner not being held on at first. It's Dieters over there with good speed. The pitch on the lower outside edge, and Ben North is down looking. So the Blue Jays leave 2 runners on here in the 4th inning. We head to the 5th. And It is Landon Hood. Actually, that was right down the middle. 3-3 here in Omaha. And that is a challenging schedule to go along with a Big East slate, which sort of flipped this year. Last year, Creighton's run to the Big East Championship in the regular season featured, as Connor Capisi steps to the plate and takes strike one, featured all of the other three Big East teams coming to Omaha. The other three Big East teams to make the Big East tournament, Xavier, St. John's, and UConn. So Creighton will go to all three of those places this year. So this one misses outside from Hood. And then on top of the first 3 weekends, which have been difficult, then trips to Miami, LSU, and Tulane. Midweeks with Nebraska. A midweek matchup way later. This feels like miles away with Kansas. So this one slowly tapped up the middle. Another good play by the second baseman, Shoop.
Yeah, coming to the shortstop side of the bag and throwing across his body a little bit there. You see the shadows. That's a good shot of the shadows there, too. How they can impact the hitters. But, yeah, I mean, you talk about that Creighton schedule, and Coach Kingston mentioned, you know, obviously playing LSU has a connection there with Jay Johnson. He's known him for a long time, and he's excited. Coach Kingston's excited to go to LSU, not only to play at Alex Box Stadium, but his daughter's a freshman at LSU. So she's going to get to – he's going to get to put her on the family pass list and have an LSU student as a family member there. So I know he's excited about that. And then he obviously has a connection with Tulane as well, having served on their staff back in the early part of this century when they made one of their trips to the College World Series in 2005.
As Waxman lines a couple fouling out of play, it's 0-2, and then there's the Miami connection as well. He was assistant coach on that staff. There's Mark Kingston in his first official year as the Creighton head coach. Takes over for longtime coach Ed Service. There you go. He was the head coach at South Carolina 2 seasons ago. This one missed upstairs. Some high expectations in the SEC, and especially at that program.
I want to credit our graphics guys, too. They got the win on there from game 1. They put the win number 494 as coach approaches win number 500 in his coaching career.
How about that? It's well done, as Isaac Waxman has extended an at-bat here. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think back to that Miami team in 2001 that won the NCAA College World Series, and that was my first College World Series experience as a staffer on the media relations staff as a volunteer. And so very memorable from my standpoint, but also memorable as that was that was Nebraska's first ever trip to the College World Series as well. So it was a sea of red for a few days at least.
3-2, Waxman swings through it. And there's a strikeout for Landon Hood. Picks up his 3rd of the afternoon in his relief appearance.
Yeah, that fastball has some giddy up. 95 at the top of the zone there. Probably out of the zone, but you got to chase it because it's just humming, and you got to decide quick when you're going to swing.
Here's Chris Belargin at the plate. It looks like Hood has indeed settled in a bit here. There's a good fastball on the edge for a strike. And on the other side, we haven't talked much about Mark Maktoff today, who is approaching being the all-time wins leader at Gonzaga. This one misses inside. So it's been around for a long time, 23rd season at the helm, 626 career wins, only behind Steve Hertz. He'll likely meet his mark, this year. He's the leader with 637. But Maktoff, very successful, has taken Gonzaga to the NCAA tournament several times. Gonzaga as a program, 7 WCC regular season titles. Belargin takes on the edge for strike 2. Most recently went to the NCAA tournament in 2022. Maybe poised to do so this year.
Yeah, they've appeared in 4 of the last 8 NCAA tournaments, and you mentioned it a handful of times overall under Mactoff.
And Landon Hood comes back and gets a powerful strikeout against Chris Belarjan. So a 1-2-3 inning for Hood, including 2 strikeouts of Waxman and Belarjan. We are through 5 here in downtown Omaha. Let's take one more look at this Landon Hood fastball right by Belarjan. To the 6th we go. 3-3 here in Omaha.
To go from Terre Haute to San Diego.
Yeah.
What a great back-to-back for that.
That might be about as well as you can do. as good of a flight as you can take.
Terre Haute. You're not flying out of Terre Haute either.
No, you will have to do some traveling.
You're going to go to Indianapolis.
To get to and from Terre Haute as Lou Rice starts the bottom of the 6th for the Jays in a 3-3 game. This one hit him on the front elbow. And Lou Rice finds his way on base for the 2nd time this afternoon. And the Blue Jays have a leadoff runner on in the 6th. First hit by pitch today in our many innings, which, going off of these two teams' track record so far this year, is kind of a statistical anomaly. Creighton not only has been hit a lot at the plate, they have also hit players a lot.
Yeah, they came into this one having been hit 16 times and hit 21 batters had Creighton.
It is a tricky start to the season, especially from a pitching perspective, as Ventiker steps in and takes a ball. Good lead at first for Rice. Let's see if he goes. Not going anywhere here. Ventiker squares around and takes outside. Just
missed. Yeah, you expect to see the bunt from Ventiker, another Nebraska product out of Millard West here in Omaha. A couple of state championships with the Wildcats.
2-0. Bunt is popped into the air behind the plate, but Sherman is not able to get there. You mentioned Ventiker at Millard West, a power of a program, pumping out several Division I players, sometimes several Division I players in a year, actually most of the time.
And even a draft pick a few years ago.
That will be Tyson Lewis. They've had, and he is not the first, certainly. Ventiker, a standout player on some very good teams at Millard West, and no surprise, he came to Creighton, played immediately, and is a everyday starter here in his 2nd season. Now a sizable lead at first for Rice. A bunt popped into the air again, and this will be Hood to make the catch, but a good read by Rice to get back to the bag, and Ventiker pops 2 bunts up and pays for one away in the 6th.
Yeah, not what you're looking for out of your 9-hole hitter. You want him to be able to get that bunt down, be productive with that out.
I would imagine that it's the same thing applies to facing Hood just as a regular hitter instead of, being a bunter where you're facing 93 and then 77. Can be tough to track.
Sure.
And Rice dives back into first safely. So that'll turn over the Creighton order here in the bottom of the 6th. Rocco Gump at the plate. There's Hood. The freshman has been outstanding this season.
Yeah, 2 out of the first 3 weeks of the year, he's been the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year. Or of the week. Maybe he's on his way to West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year.
Well, if you win enough of the Freshman of the Week, you would think that would put you in line for Freshman of the Year, right? In most cases, that's the case.
That makes me bite my tongue about the Big East Women's Basketball Award.
Teeing you up
there you go. Yeah, you set me up. I'll say Ava Zedeker's name on baseball broadcast because she got maybe a little robbed. No
balls and 1 strike to Rocco Gump. just off the inside edge.
Oof. Might have even clipped it. Looked, according to TrackMan, might have clipped it a little.
Very close. Yeah, the Creighton women were able to win today in the Big East basketball tournament. Strike one.
Yeah, 57-44 over Marquette. So their reward is to face undefeated UConn in the semifinals.
It's a very young team that found a way to play its best basketball at the end of the year. Another good lead over at first for Rice. This one is wrapped down the first baseline and foul. Gump was out in front. Not common around here to see two basketball teams hovering around 500, but that has been the case for Creighton this year. Can't imagine that will last long.
Well, and you said a young squad for the women, and they really do have a lot to build on. They had a really large freshman class and their best ever recruiting class, and they performed well down the stretch, as you said, and I know they have some good recruits coming in, so easier to build in women's basketball with consistency, and sometimes in men's basketball you're looking for the transfers, and that's not just men's basketball. That's, you look at both of these rosters here up and down the lineup, and that was one thing Mark Kingston talked to us about this week, was mature. He mentioned that word. He said, I know I'm going to say that a lot, but this guy's mature. This guy's mature. And that meant old. Basically, they fourth or fifth year guys that are in the lineup.
There's a reason why, as Gump continues to foul pitches off, there's a reason why we talked about players coming in from different levels earlier in the day, whether it be junior college or Division III or Division II, whatever it might be, or just lower levels moving up the ranks in Division I baseball. There's a reason why they're able to have success, usually because it's experience and age. This one misses away, and a great at-bat here for Rocco Gump, 2-2. And we talked about UConn earlier, taking a bunch of Division III guys and turning them into success stories at the Big East level, the Division I level, and that they are far from the last school around the country who is able to do that. Another look at first. Rice is taking two big steps and then a dive back into first. He has a big lead.
And it looks like he has a good read on the pitcher, that he's able to get back. Hood either has a tell or else just Rice is comfortable enough over there regardless.
See if he wants to steal one for himself here. He stays put. Gump takes a changeup away. We have officially reached excellent at-bat stage for Rocco Gump. The mustache. You want to talk about mature. Mustache. So Landon Hood comes to the plate. Runner goes. This one is looped into left field. Now going back on it is the left fielder, Young, and he's got it for the second out. So Gump has a long at-bat, ends up hitting one hard into left field, and doesn't get a reward for it, 2 away.
I think you're right, though, kind of the way you described that, too. It did look more like a loop off the bat, and then it just kind of carried out there. The wind's really died down a little bit, but it is still blowing that direction, so potentially got up into the jet stream and pushed it a little.
We got to get our baseball eyes back. I've missed like 6 of them today.
Opening day for everybody.
It is. That's what we're going to keep saying.
Including us.
Hopefully we don't say it tomorrow. Here's Nate McHugh. Missed outside for ball 1. So Hood now extending this relief appearance with 3 full innings of work under his belt now. He just threw his 60th pitch. He's a guy that you could throw out there for quite some time. Rob has mentioned it a few times where his relief appearances have been extended. So he came in a sticky situation in the 3rd, and he'll ride it out with him until he can't go. McHugh taps one and behind the plate and foul.
Yeah, and the way that Gonzaga has used him early on, you think projection out even within this year, potential midweek starter with the stuff that he has. He threw 82 pitches in relief at Hawaii, 37 at Texas State, 43 in that 3-inning save at Oklahoma last Sunday. So clearly has the arm to go long.
And this one bounces in front of the catcher, Sherman, and that'll be enough to get Lou Rice to second base. Will be a wild pitch there.
Yeah, and that's the good base running. Rice, he talked about his aggressiveness over there with the lead and then read that one in the dirt immediately, no hesitation when he saw this one bounce.
There you go. Good sharp breaking ball in the dirt, got away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to McHugh. Swung on and missed. Came up empty, and a changeup that backed in on Nate McHugh, got him out in front, and the Blue Jays leave a runner in scoring position. There's another look. That thing dives right toward the knees of McHugh. We are through 6 in a tie game here in Omaha. Bottom half of the 7th, Gonzaga jumps out to a 5-3 lead, and they'll remain with Landon Hood, who's done a nice job today on the mound for the Bulldogs. 3 1/3 innings, giving up just 1 hit, struck out 5 and walked 2. And the next pitch he throws will equal him as far as pitch count with the Gonzaga starter today, Eric Hoffberg. So maybe this was in the plan all the way, as Hood has been a star out of the bullpen this year, and there is no action down there at the moment. It'll be 3-4-5 for Creighton, who now is down 2 in the bottom of the 7th. Dieters, North, and Capisi. So Hood winds and delivers upstairs. Can be tough around this time of day, this point in the season. We've mentioned the weather to remain active and warm, although if there was a place where you could do it, it would be here. 1-0 to Dieters is right on the edge. There's a tunnel leading up both sides of the dugout. Long ramps. If you go far back, you can get away from the elements.
Landon Hood unfazed, though.
Oh, no.
Pitching with no sleeves on.
Absolutely. He delivers an excellent changeup there.
His changeup's been, I mean, I know he's got really good, he's hit 95. We've seen him hit 95 with the fastball, but I think that changeup is probably what is setting him apart early on in his career.
He feels comfortable with it, and this one is lined down the left field line, just barely out of play. You know, we called that gentleman in the Navy hat smart earlier. He was down there by himself, wanted to stay in the sun. Now he's got some friends.
Yep.
It's interesting. Trendsetter.
Should probably see everybody in that section 124 by the end of this game. Just the last sliver of sunlight.
It's cooled off dramatically. Here is the 2-strike pitch to Dieters. He sprays one foul and out of play.
Yeah, we talked about in the opener in the first game how cold it was overnight. It dropped from 70 into the 30s, maybe even into the 20s, and we may have seen a flurry as we headed out this morning.
1-2, and Dieters stays alive, spraying one foul and upstairs. It can change in a hurry. We knew once we got into the period of the evening tonight where the sun disappears behind, it's going to get more challenging, although we're going to be in better shape for night games here starting tomorrow with daylight savings time, as this one's down the third base line and fair. Dieters is around first, and he'll cruise into second with a stand-up double. Teddy Dieters puts together an excellent at-bat and starts the Blue Jays right back up in the 7th.
Yeah, Connor, you said it perfectly. Not only the result of that at-bat makes it good, but he battled so much, as we see what Ben North has done today.
Here's North. 2 home runs. There was his one to left center field in the first game. His 428-foot blast is right there. It's one thing to see it, it's another thing to hear it. Heard that. North has been the guy in the middle of the Blue Jays lineup today. He's got a runner in scoring position here with nobody out in the 7th.
Yeah, that second blast of the day was impressive with the way he got his hands inside of that fastball and just launched it.
Certainly looks locked in at the plate right now. Fouls that one straight back. It's a sign of that. Hood is certainly not afraid to go after. And he struck out North earlier in the game today. In fact, North has struck out twice after that 428-foot home run. The pitch just barely missed. Boy, that exact spot. Went, thought he had a couple calls that could have gone his way on that pitch, right in that upper corner. And North takes one. It's called a ball as well. Changeup. And North waves through it, 2-2.
Yeah, so impressed with the freshman's control with that pitch, with the off-speed pitch.
Fouled, will do another 2-strike pitch.
Well, that's the thing, too, with how hard he throws and how young he is. Everybody gets so enamored with how hard can he throw, how hard can he throw. It's great to throw hard, but if you don't have a complementary pitch to go along with it, pitch or two, it doesn't matter how hard you can throw. The fact that he throws that changeup so effectively.
It's a plus in his category as North takes inside. You see a little less of that slider, but we have seen it at times. There's certainly a bright future in store for Landon Hood. A big spot right here. We talked about experience, maturity earlier. Youth versus experience. The pitch. Upstairs, maybe a hair outside, but right to that same spot. North wisely lays off. And Creighton has runners on first and second with nobody out.
Yeah, runners at first and second, and you got double barrel action going in the bullpen now for the Bulldogs.
Finally, a little action creeps up out there. That is, next pitch will be pitch number 78.
A righty and a lefty, there you go, in the pen.
Joe Thornton is one of them. He's the lefty. And Gores is the other. We mentioned him earlier. He was getting loose. Corners are in. Capisi lays down a bunt and fielded. Smartly thrown over to first. Hood took a quick look over to third and realized nobody was covering. So a good play by Connor Capisi and by Landon Hood to make it sacrifice successful with one out.
Yeah, watch the bunt defense here where the guys are rotating to. Third baseman went to field it. Good talking there. You could tell you could see with the point of the glove, but it wasn't just the point. It was you know that he was barking there to get that over.
And he's saying, I'm not there, I'm not there. And then it's another thing to calmly just turn around and toss it over to first as he did. Hood's not flappable. So one away, and here's Isaac Waxman. Swings at a fastball upstairs. It's 0-1. Waxman trying to find his way out of a funk here. He did walk in the third, but has struck out twice. Struck out once in game one today. Doesn't have a hit all afternoon. The 1-strike pitch is on the edge for strike two. I don't know what edge. The edge of the middle, I suppose.
I think it just caught Waxman off guard and maybe sitting on changeup, and that fastball just froze him.
Now he's got his work cut out for him. Hood's 0-2. Chop foul at his feet.
Interesting selection, just the way you saw DePaulo now catching for Gonzaga. Started in the first game, now on after the pinch hitter we saw, but he was signaling high, and that was a changeup. So that's a dangerous pitch to say, I want this changeup high.
Waxman has the ladder climbed on him, and another strikeout for Landon Hood. Waxman's down swinging, and a huge strikeout for the freshman righty.
This makes more sense. The fastball high makes a whole lot of sense. When you signal to get the changeup high is a little confusing, but the high heat gets the chase and the swing.
And now, after bunting over 2 runners for Waxman, he strikes out, and now Creighton's with their back up against the wall in this inning with Balarjian, who takes a strike. So Dieters doubled to start the inning down the third baseline. Then North walked, and now we'll have a visit. Mark Kingston is going to have a light discussion with Terry Helgett behind the plate, then talk to Balarjian. So this will be an offensive timeout.
Yeah, the offensive timeout, I thought potentially could see a pinch hitter in this situation. Just talking to Mark Kingston earlier this week, said we could see Nick Bauer, the freshman, a lefty hitter who could play first base. That might have been an opportunity to see what he could do.
Stick with the experienced Balarjian, who takes outside. 5-3 at the bottom of the 7th. Gonzaga got 2 runs in the top to take the lead on what could have been an ending double play that would have ended the inning tied at 3. Balarjian fouls it back, and now Landon Hood is 1 strike away from getting out of his biggest jam face to date. He has been excellent for the Bulldogs. He's trying to keep that ERA at 0. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Landon Hood blows it by Chris Balarjian and turns the Blue Jays down in the bottom of the 7th. That is heat on the outside edge, and the fist bump from the catcher, DePaulo. To the 8th we go. Gonzaga with a 5-3 lead. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's 5-3 Gonzaga, and Landon Hood has been the story of game number 2 this afternoon for the Bulldogs. 4 1/3 innings, giving up 2 hits, walked 3 and struck out 7 in relief. And in this relief outing, he will throw his 87th pitch in just a moment to Lou Rice, who will step up to start the bottom of the 8th for Creighton. He has been excellent. And maybe even Rob has gotten better as his appearance has gone along. He's been very sharp.
Yeah, you look back at his first couple innings, had a walk, hit, but yeah, he's really settled in. The further he's gotten, the sharper he's controlled that changeup in the zone.
So Lou Rice steps in. He singled, struck out, and has been hit by a pitch. That was his most recent at bat in the 6th. Crouched down in the stance. Takes inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Still double-barreled action going on in the Gonzaga bullpen. 2-0 to Rice. Upstairs. Nobody has gotten really anything on that, as you mentioned a couple times, that top edge of the zone. There's the 2 relievers in the Gonzaga bullpen. 3-0 to Rice on the outside edge. Rice tossed the bat.
Whoops.
That pitch looked pretty good.
Yeah, that caught the edge. Trackman agrees.
Still the same 2 arms, by the way, down in that Gonzaga bullpen. You saw them. Thornton and Gores. So 3-1 to the 8-hole Creighton hitter. In there, strike 2. That sort of looked like a take all the way from Rice. Choked up on the bat. 3-2 pitch. Swung on, missed, popped out of the mitt. Yeah, they'll call it foul. Just barely tipped. As we mentioned before, the new catcher behind home plate, DePaulo.
Yeah, we saw him start in the first game in for Sherman after he got pinch hit for.
Popped up, foul territory, and out of play. Right off the top. And back down. There's one youngster in the upper deck area who needed just that ball to just go a couple more feet. He would have had a freebie.
Looks like there's a puddle in the first row there he didn't want to mess with.
He did not bring his...
It's a large puddle.
...his galoshes to the park today. Tipped into the mid of DePaulo for strike 3, and another strikeout for Landon Hood. His 8th of the afternoon, and there is one gone in the 8th. Good job by DePaulo there to hang on, too.
Yeah, that's not easy, and yeah, 3rd straight strikeout. Now, you said he's gotten better. He certainly has. Look at those results, including the 2 strikeouts with 2 runners in scoring position to get out of the 7th.
They're going to let him go as long as he stays out of trouble. Creighton put pressure on him in the 7th inning, but he came back and got 2 strikeouts to finish the frame after a sacrifice bunt. Now it's Ventiker at the plate who takes strike 1.
Yeah, it's March 7th, Connor. We're going to probably see 2 pitchers in the same day throw 100 pitches.
That's a good thing if you can do it. Certainly not a bad thing for us broadcasters. The 1-1 is downstairs.
Barely downstairs.
A good thing for pitching as well. Jack Pino was the other 100-pitch thrower earlier this afternoon for the Blue Jays in Game 1. Hood will be the second. Just missed outside. 3 balls and a strike. Rice was up in the count 3-0 before striking out. 3-1 to the Blue Jays second baseman. In there, strike 2.
Yeah, the 2 3-1 pitches that have been thrown this inning, both Creighton hitters didn't look like they had any interest in swinging it.
Interesting approach.
It's either one of 2 things. They're either looking for the walk on that pitch, or they're looking for a changeup to sit on it, and it didn't get it either time.
This one is lined down the right field line and foul by a few feet. Yeah, most likely looking for a different pitch. Now, why, I suppose, would be the next question.
Sure.
But
unless that's the philosophy where you're looking one pitch only, and if you're not getting it, you don't swing. Now, that's not a normal approach necessarily, but if that's what you want to do here.
Hood winds and delivers to Ventiker. Ground ball towards short. Fielded by Sanchez and makes the play easily at first base, and there are 2 away in the Creighton 8th.
No movement. No movement out of the dugout so far for the Bulldogs.
I don't think so.
Going to finish this one. It's always easier to come in with a clean inning, too. Obviously, nobody's on base, so it's still fairly clean here, but now there's the movement.
We spoke too soon.
He was getting his jacket on first.
So top of the Creighton order as Rocco Gump steps in, and this will almost certainly lead to a call to the bullpen. So Gump is a left-handed hitter, and so that means we will almost certainly see the left-handed pitcher Joe Thornton trot out of that bullpen. But my goodness, what a job from Landon Hood. 5 complete innings, struck out 8, and is in line for the win. We'll introduce you to our new arm when we come back.